Hello, welcome to another episode of Building a Leadership Mindset podcast. I'm your host, Nikki C. Super excited for the amazing guest that we have for you here today. Before we get into that, let's send a shout out to some of our sponsors. We have Jose Escobar with the Connected Leaders Academy. We also have Patrick Rude from Dirty Little Secret Society. He is also known as the Tax Wizard and Rude Financial Services. We also have the amazing Julie and Noah with Breathe Capital Planning, and you definitely want to get a hold of them on our website, www.buildingaleadershipmindset.com, if you want to know more about our sponsors and how you can get in touch with them. Thank you guys so much for continuing the support of BALM Global and bringing amazing people doing amazing things in our world today. And our guest today is Jeremy Roadruck, and I met him through the Connected Leaders Academy. He's the creator of the Roadmap to Relationship Mastery for Men. He is a husband, father, international champion, and sixth degree Kung Fu master, multi-time best-selling author, hypnotherapist, neuro-strategist, and consultant, author of the only parenting book with a money-back guarantee. Jeremy is on a mission to help dads who lead in business to create strong marriages, raise amazing kids, and have businesses they love. He's been through bankruptcy, living in a tent in the woods, car repossession, kicked out of where he was living after his second lung collapse, closed his dream business, and more. Through it all, he developed specific strategies and tools to help keep his mindset playful and strong. Today, he is happily married and helping men love their lives and their wives. I absolutely love that. Without further ado, let's get our guest on here. Jeremy, how are you?
Good morning, Miss Nikki. How are you? I'm doing amazing. Same as always.
Yes, I am well. I am well. And first, I want to say that thank you so much for saying yes to being here
Heck yeah.
with us today. And by the time this is live, you would have hit our virtual summit at Online Business Mindset Mania. So I can't wait to have everyone back and kind of share. Actually, I'm going to have all the guests that have been on my virtual summits in 2024 and share their experience. So I just want to
Sweet.
say thank you.
Yeah, we had
And
we had the meeting last night, and it's a good lineup. It is a amazing topic, which I love, Reason, Season, Lifetime, and we're talking about like such a key, powerful frame of reference. So I love the energy that you're putting out into the world. And as you were reading off your sponsors and saying thank you, I'm like, I know those guys. I know those guys. The third one, the couple, I'm like, I don't know them. I should meet them. So I have some homework today. So
awesome. Yes, you do. And Julie's actually, I believe, in the CLA. So
perfect.
definitely connect with her. And then Noah, he's amazing. They're masterful at what they do as far as getting your money right and tight.
Gotta love when your money works for you. Like I taught my daughter about money babies and money grandbabies. So at 7 years old, she's now 9, but she's invested in index funds. She's getting quarterly dividends. She's getting monthly dividends. Like she's like 80% of the money that comes in into investing.
I love that. Wow, so young. So
Yeah.
let's get into all of this that you shared with us. Just what is your, where are you from? What did you come from? And then kind of share about these whole hurdles that we kind of were dealt in our life, and how did you get out of that?
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you again for the opportunity. And the first question, where am I from? I'm from my mom. And you will use that. Like you'll be networking and someone will be like, where are you from? You're like, my mom. I'm like, oh my God, me too. I'll be like, oh, brother. And they're like, no. I'm from my mom, not your mom. And it's like, oh, my bad. But yeah, so I was born. That happened. And even that, there's like a whole story in that because my mom, unfortunately, she had 8 miscarriages. So I was pregnancy number 7 and only 2 of us made it. So I have 6 siblings that I haven't met yet. Or I'm sorry, 8 siblings I haven't met yet because my brother was number 4 and I was number 7 and they only wanted 2. So
Mm,
technically, if things had gone according to their plan, I never would have been born. So that's a fun way to grow up as a kid. When you realize that at 8 years old, you're like, wait, I wasn't supposed to be here. And unfortunately, I had some bad stuff happen to me at 5 and 6 that took me sideways. So I already don't like myself. I already don't trust the world. And then I never was even supposed to be born. That is a fantastic frame of reference for an 8-year-old kid who doesn't trust adults or kids, because massive introspection, massive chip on the shoulder, angry, defensive. But I was intelligent enough to realize my actions were pushing responses from other people, right? Play tic tac toe with a 7-year-old who believes they're going to die if they lose. Like, all the kids are leaning back and this kid's a freak. And I'm looking at this going, oh, this isn't safe. So I learned to become a really good student of human behavior and psychology, and why do people say one thing and they mean a second thing and then they do a third thing, and none of it has to do with anything. Like, what? Where is that? Why is that coming? Like, I didn't know, and I couldn't trust anyone to tell me, so I had to figure it out for myself. And so I had about 20 years of just digging in the depths of my soul and my why are we here? What's our purpose? What's our faith? This whole existential amazingness. And it was not a pretty journey along the way, but I got involved with martial arts about 20 years old. And that became a massive pivot point, because you can be as defensive and intellectually dominant as you want. When you have a room full of people that can just hand you your head, it doesn't matter your ego. They're just going to knock you on your butt and be like, okay, and then go ahead, run your mouth again. Go ahead, run your mouth again. One of my kung fu brothers, Master Chongo, when I met him, went to shake my hand. And I'm like, well, I don't shake hands. And he's like, oh, okay, why is that? Well, shaking hands is a symbol among ancient warrior cultures that you're not carrying a weapon, but you're a martial artist. You've trained your whole body to be a weapon. That makes you a liar, and I don't believe in lying. So he hated my guts for about the next 3 years, and he prayed that I would make it to sparring so he could beat the crap out of me, and I did, and he did. And what was funny is he realized over time I wasn't the egocentric jerk that I presented as, because every time he beat me, every time he knocked me on my butt, tackled me, throwed me, choked me, sweeped me, tapped me out, whatever the case, I would be like, cool, how'd you do that? Do that again. Because I would be like a dog with a bone, and I'm just like, how do I shut that down? How do I prevent that? And I didn't care how much he punished me, because I wasn't in that. I was like, I want to figure this out. I did something wrong. It's the only way you got that. So what did I do wrong that I can fix? And over time, he realized, like I had been running a pattern of, I don't like me. In fact, I hate me. So I know you're going to reject me at some point. So I'm just going to make you do it on my terms now, so that I can be in control of the pattern between us. And so I had this massive chip on my shoulder for a really long time, because of my own lack of self worth. And martial arts was the biggest tool to rebuild Humpty Dumpty, because it gave me this beautiful vehicle to deal physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, because they liked me. Like, I remember 3 months, 4 months in, I was there almost 7 days a week, because I like ducked to water, gravitated, because it was just such a different environment. And at one point, I asked my teacher, Grandmaster Ming, I was like, do you guys ever get tired of me? And he was like, no, why? Do you get tired of you? And I didn't answer him, but the answer to that question was all the time. And like, that was like a pivot moment, because it was like, ooh, I don't like that answer. So
Mm,
that pushed me into myself again, to now go a layer deeper and go, okay, why don't I like me? Because they
yeah.
like me, they must be seeing something, because they're not idiots. What are they seeing that I'm missing? How am I being an idiot in this dynamic? And that's how I began to unravel. And that led me on a journey of personal growth. I ended up master level certifications in hypnotherapy and neurolinguistic programming. Like, I had to get the answer for myself. Like, I had to get this resolved. Like, I don't really like the word fixed, because I wasn't broken, but I was like a computer running bad code and you're getting an error. Okay, well, what has to be true in my belief system, in my BS? What has to be true for me to end up at that result? And what could I change? What could I see in a new way? What are they seeing that I'm missing?
Mm,
And that opened up a whole world of new realizations. And that's been the pivot point. And so now, am I a coach? Am I a strategist? Am I a mentor? Am I a friend? Am I an ally, a tool, an asset? Yes. All the things. Like, I don't really put labels on it, because if you're struggling with something, I can probably help you make it better faster than you ever thought possible. Let's have a conversation and see where it takes us.
oh
Whether
my
we end up
goodness.
working long term or not is beside the point, right? Let's just build and then go.
Oh my goodness. So do not disturb is not working right now. And here on the hot call, the honest, open, transparent call, sometimes the internet is not so nice. So
It's all good. We're still here.
Yes. But oh my goodness, you said some amazing things, powerful. Just thank you for the tenacity, for asking yourself a lot of those questions throughout life so that you can get the answers, because that's kind of what some of us don't do. We don't even want to know why we don't like ourselves. So how important was it? And this is in your 20s, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. How important was it for you after he asked that question? Like, what, and I know you said it that that was the pivot moment, but really, what was the switch? And when did you start saying, okay, I kind of like myself. I'm kind of cool. I'm kind of, I kind of got
So,
it.
so the exact question was kung fu stuff, of course. We're doing things, and I was working in a sandpaper factory, and I was like mad all the time about everything. Massively productive, but I was just angry. I went to bed angry. I woke up angry. If you gave me a compliment, I was angry about it. If you ignored me, I was angry about it. It was almost like it was me, not anybody else, right? And so our my teacher's teacher, my kung fu grandfather, Grandmaster Moyat, he came in town to do a workshop. I had to work. I couldn't make it, but Grandmaster Ming, because I had been training. I started in March. This was May, so 3 months later, I was training just like every moment I was there. I was there like as soon as I got off work, I'd go get a shower. I'd go to the school. I'd stay until they closed. Even if I wasn't taking class, I would just sit and watch. I wouldn't ask questions. I wouldn't interrupt. I was just observing and noticing, and I just wanted to be bathed in this because I felt like there's something here that I need to get. And so Grandmaster Ming has the attitude of if you act like a disciple, even if you don't have the label, but you do all the things a disciple is supposed to do, who can say that you're not? So it's like, don't get caught up in the labels because people sometimes need this, like, I need that structure, I need that validation. It's like, no, Kung Fu is about hard skill and ability. That's the gong. Through hard work over time, that's the fu, right? So if you've got power, like muscular force in Chinese is lick in Cantonese. So muscular strength is lick. To be strong or to be powerful is gong lick. So it's power in the muscular force. So gong lick is different than just lick. In Mandarin, you would say li. So it's like if you've got the goods, nobody can argue with you. It's self-evident. It's like the sun shining. And so Grandmaster Moyat came to do a workshop. I couldn't make the workshop, but Sifu invited me out for Kung Fu Life afterwards. And so we went to a pool hall because pool, you can talk about physics and angle and intentionality. There's a lot of mindset that gets revealed in how you play pool. And Grandmaster Ming heard me say something to myself about myself out loud that was derogatory. It was negative self-talk. And he doesn't even remember doing this. Like years later, I told him the story and he's like, I did that? Wow. But he stopped what he was doing. He looked me in the eye and he held my gaze for a second and he said, don't talk to yourself like that. And he just held it. And then he went back to what he was doing. And that was what woke me up to my self-talk because I was so critical about everything. There was this constant chatter, judging everything. I had this perfect person attacking everything, excoriating everything, not good enough, not right, could be better. It was just tearing everything apart. And so I started paying attention to my language. And I realize now I was hypnotizing myself into a set of filters because I was choosing unconsciously to filter everything negative, to filter everything not good enough, too much. It was always one of those two patterns. So there's this existential guilt that I was stuck with. And so I began to pay attention to my self-talk, and working in the sandpaper factory was perfect because everyone left me the hell alone. I'm on my machine, do my job, do my job, do my job. So my body's doing a thing, left me a lot of time to meditate and just be present. And so I noticed my self-talk and I began to start changing the language. I began to soften it. I began to add things like could, not should, not have to, not must, could, possible. Just softening a little bit, occasionally, sometimes, every now and then. Just adding those little bits of soften created space inside me to breathe. Like literally, physically, just the tension started to come out of me. And if you've read The Body Keeps Score, if you've studied Jungian psychology, we keep a lot of our psychological stuff in our nervous system, in our physical system. And so as I began to change my language, I began to give myself mental room to breathe. It literally became physical room to breathe. It became spiritual room to breathe. And I started to be more gentle with myself. Being gentle with other people was easy because they're not as smart as me and they don't know as much as me and they're not as capable as me and they haven't done as much as me and they haven't pushed as hard as me and they haven't. But to be kind to myself. And that was when I started to realize I made a mistake and I didn't excoriate myself. I'm so stupid. I'm so dumb. I stopped punishing myself for being human. and I started treating myself more humanely.
Mm,
And
mm,
that was the pivot, because it was like, oh, well, what can I learn from this? And that question opened up a whole new level of growth. Because then, and this is from fighting too, you either win or you learn. You're
mm,
still alive,
mm.
right? Okay, cool. You got another quarter. You can play again. You can learn from this. What are you not going to do the exact same way? Because now you know what not to do, because you know what that gives you. Like, I don't process success or failure. I look at the success you're looking for and the success you're not looking for, because you did something and got result. You got feedback. That was a success that you were not looking for. When should you stop with the success
Mhm.
you don't want or the success you do want? Because a lot of people stop on the success they don't want.
Oh,
And it's like, well, yeah, okay. Now you know what not to do again the exact same way. So how can you iterate that? How can you make that different? And this is why I like what's and how's as questions way more than why. Because why spins justification and rationalization. And someone licked all the red off my candy when I was 3, and that's why I burned the building down. What? No. They licked all the red off your candy because they're jerks. You can buy more candy. I'll buy you more candy. It's cool. Take a deep breath. We don't need to go that far, dude. Like, back off. And so it's that what do I want? What can I learn? How can I apply this? How can I shift this? What can I do different? And those questions begin to create new probabilities inside you, new potentialities inside you, inside me, inside all of us. Our language can control the meaning that we give to our experiences. But when we're in the hole, like I was in my anger, we can't see it because we are it. We are the emotion. And so we need people outside to poke at us, to give us feedback. And if you guys ever go check out the Connected Leaders Academy, there's a live that Jose did talking about don't be afraid of the criticism. Right. And I left a comment. I said, feedback is the breakfast of champions. It's all feedback, whether you agree with it or disagree with it. It's just feedback. They're just giving you their perspective on your whatever the thing you did. Awesome. Thanks for sharing. Thank you for having the character and the wherewithal to speak up to me about what I'm doing and giving me feedback, whether I want to accept it or not, whether I can or not, whether it's valid or not. Those are all secondary concerns. But if I appreciate the fact you noticed and spoke up, that's already worthy of giving praise to, because, like, hey, thanks for the feedback. Thanks for letting me know a filter back so that I have more information than I did before. I can make new changes, make new growth.
wow. It just all makes sense. And it's that simple. And I love that you touched a lot of areas that we suffer with today. And just going back to creating the stories that don't even exist in our minds. We do that to ourselves. Like,
Well,
no one's, and then people tell us all the time, like, you're great, you're amazing, I love what you're doing, I support you, yada yada yada. But then we still create, like, do they really support me? Like, we're questioning
mhm.
everything.
Yeah.
Why? And what tip can you give someone? And you said you dropped a lot of golden nuggets now. I'm ready to go back and like rewatch it, take notes, because it's amazing. So, what tip would you give someone who, even though they know they got the goods,
Mhm.
why, or what can they do instantly to try to get them to like knock that inner hater out? Because
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what I
yeah.
call her.
Yeah. Well, the first thing to remember is this: all stories are true, but only some of them actually happened. Right?
Mm,
Because once we tell a story, it becomes a reality for us, and then it governs the games we play. Right? Everything I do, and you go back to the Bao in Chinese martial arts, we have the dragon, the invisible, and then we have the tiger, the visible. Zhou Qing Long Yao Ba Fu, left green dragon, right white tiger. But when we bow, this right here is the stories we tell, the things you can't see, but you can feel the impact. It's a story that drives our game, which is our behavior. And our games generate energy, positive or negative, right? And we're all energy addicts. We will motivate positive, we will manipulate negative, but we literally need energy. It's why we eat, it's why we breathe. We need energy to exist. And so all of our games, good, bad, sideways, are wired to produce energy, bring energy into our lives. But it's all governed by games or by stories. So if I want to change someone's behavior, I don't change their behavior. I mean, you can, but it's a lot of work and a lot of practice. I change their story, make that behavior incompatible with a stronger identity. It's so much faster. So outside of yourself, there's time and space. Something happens, right? I call it a moment of impact. You got punched, you got yelled at, someone cut you off in traffic, somebody betrayed your confidence, whatever the case, something happened. Is it traumatic? Is it abuse? Is it a significant emotional event? Is it a moment of impact? That's all the story. But then you label the experience. That
Mm,
controls your internal state. That controls your energy, because this is a problem. That's a story. This is a crisis. That's a story. This is abuse. This is outrageous. This is a tragedy. Those are all stories. This is an opportunity. This is a challenge. This is a test. This is a calling. Those
mm,
are also stories that I can use to describe the exact same external time and space. So the label we give creates or nullifies resourcefulness inside us. If I say that's a problem, that I will show up a certain way. If I say that's an opportunity, I will show up in a different way.
mm,
Neither of them are good, bad, right, or wrong. So when you have someone say something and you immediately cut that story down and go, that's not true, that's not real, I don't believe that, then the next question you ask controls your reality. And the question you want to ask yourself is, what does this mean? And then you follow up that question with, what else could it mean? And those two questions, you play them back and forth. You just sit there and hammer on what else could it mean. Literally write that stuff down, because, well, this is a tragedy. Well, what does it mean? Well, it means life is unfair. And well, what else does it mean? Well, it means life is unfair. Yeah, you already said that. What else could it mean? Not does it mean? What else could it mean? People need to have better standards. Okay, cool. What else could it mean? People need to speak up. Okay, what else could it mean? I need to speak up, which is a different statement. People is projected external. I need to speak up. Ooh, there's some ownership in that. What else could it mean? I need to have better standards. What else could it mean? I have to look at what I'm tolerating and allowing in my life. Ooh, what else could it mean? I put myself in a situation where someone take advantage of me. Oh crap. What else could it mean? And you sit there and you keep hammering on what else could it mean? And you write it down, because that stops you from looping. Because if you keep it in your head, the left side of your head only holds 7 things plus or minus 2. So you can keep lists of like 5 to 9 things, and then you start looping without realizing it. So it's like when people go into overwhelm, pause, write
mm,
everything down. Because when you write it down, you can't loop. So if you have 12 things, it'll feel like 87 because you loop unconsciously. Because after 9, you loop on yourself and don't realize it. Write it down. So what else does this mean? What else could it mean? What else could it mean? That keeps you open to potentiality, right? I had a client who was upset and struggling and just like not in a great place mentally. Well, what are you happy about? Nothing. Well, what are you proud of? Nothing. What are you grateful for? Nothing. What are you excited about? Nothing. I know he doesn't want to kill himself. So the fact that he has nothing to be excited, proud, grateful, or happy about. Oh, okay. What could you be proud of? My sons. Because when I asked could is potential. What are you is present state. And he's in a negative state, right? He's focused on overwhelm and overload and challenge and difficulty. So what are you feeling? Nothing. He doesn't want to admit, he doesn't want to associate, doesn't want to dig into those emotions. Cool. What could you be proud of? Now is a potentiality. It's we call it an opening a frame. I open his frame of reference to, oh, I could be proud of my sons. Well, what could you be proud of your sons about? They're getting stronger, they're getting taller, the fact they exist. I always want to be a dad. And now I've got him going into this place of gratitude. And now we're pulling out all this gratitude that he could choose to be grateful for, or he could choose to feel nothing. Which one's more fun?
to be grateful for. Oh my goodness.
His choice, right? I love consent. So it's his choice to feel nothing or to feel gratitude. He could be grateful for his sons. I mean, you can continue to feel nothing if you want and be pissed off, be my guest. But you could also be grateful for the fact you have your sons and they exist.
Mm,
Right. I have a client right now who is in his early 50s who is at end of life care. I literally found out this morning, feeding tube, and he's in a group I'm in and he's posting to say goodbye. And it's like, oh, my heart. Like, you're way too young, dude. Like way too young. But he's going out on a high. He got to spend time with his family. Like he's ending his life. And now he's like, how do I find the courage to let go? And I'm like, you find the gratitude in your life. You're going back to love, dude. Like, it's cool.
wow. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for sharing. I know we talked about it a bit before we went live here, and sending love and straight to you, to the family, and all that good stuff. And thank you for honoring him. But that's what this is. It's our life is about, how are we going to go out, right?
Yeah.
Do we want to go out miserable, without a purpose, without a legacy to leave behind, without something that people can talk about for years and years and years in the brightest light, right?
Right.
the brightest light. And
Yeah, well,
you know,
do you want your life to be a warning or an example? A warning of what not to do or an example of what's possible? Because those are both stories,
yeah.
right? And we're wired. This is the thing, because I've worked with people, I've worked with kids 3 to 94. We are wired to win the game we're playing. Like, that is our instinct. We will win. And if we can't win the achievement game, then I'm going to win the miserable game. And I'm going to go in the garden and eat worms and rend my garments. And I'm going to be the most worstest person ever at blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to just dogpile myself into the dirt. Right. I had a client, and actually it wasn't even a client. It was a dad in a Facebook group that I'm in. And how do I explain to my 4-year-old his mom OD'd and she's not coming back ever? How do I
Mm.
explain that? Right. And he's at a loss. And a bunch of guys are like, oh, dude, I feel for you. And I come in, I got a strategy, and it's actually a reason, season, lifetime. It's exactly that pattern. We'll talk about, since this is going to be broadcast after, everyone go back and watch it because, right. But because I have a framework to help explain and take away the guilt, the fault, the blame, the shame. Like, how can we build this young man at 4 years old to have a love and a respect for his mom, even though she made some horrible decisions and her life is over? But we can do it in a way that there's beauty and there's grace and there's appreciation, and armor him that he won't go the same direction as her without tearing her down or destroying who she was as a person. Because for someone to end up in that place, she had a lot of pain that she was carrying and didn't know how to let go of it.
Yeah.
And wiring that into her son, that doesn't serve anybody. So I gave him this framework, and he's like, oh my God, I never would have that. Like, that's the power of the internet. That's the power of social media. That's the power of us as individuals. The tools are secondary. Where's our heart? Where's our mind? And what can we add to the conversation to amplify? So to your point, what's the legacy that we want to leave? Like, I think about that all the time. I will leave the world a better place because I was born. Like, I was born for a reason.
Absolutely.
What am I
Yeah,
gonna what am I gonna
we
do with it?
beat out how many I didn't want we beat out about what 50 million or
Oh, no, no,
5,000
no, no.
sperm.
Genetically, it's 400 trillion to one against,
Oh, there you go.
right? So
So if
not
you're
not
here,
million. Like, million is like 7 digits. Billion's another three. Trillion's another three. So a trillion is like a billion million or a million million.
yes, and we beat out all of that to
All of that.
be here,
No pressure.
right?
there's
Like,
never
what are you
been
going to do with that opportunity?
there's never been someone like you. There never will be someone like you. Even if you have a genetic twin, you're still your own person because you're both operating in two different spaces and time, and you literally have two different filters. So you are a priceless work of art with a gift to share the world. No pressure. Just be your absolute best, and nobody could ever do it better than you, but no pressure.
Yeah, I love that. You know
like
what?
like
I think I'm
that
gonna actually just like literally upload this today because it has to go out there. This is so
Well,
powerful.
this was my frame as a kid, because the teachers would be like, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I'm like, "Everything." Like, you can't be everything. Well, you can't be everything, but I think I get to define for me what I can or can't be, right?
Mm.
And this was like, I had a lot of trouble with positional authority and shut up and do it because I said so. Like, I struggled. I got kicked out of gifted program for reading and math because I wouldn't follow their stupid rules, right? In math, you do your 6 weeks of work, and then you put it into a binder, and then you turn your folder in, and then they give you a grade on the folder. Well, you already have my grades because I already turned this in. You already gave me the grades. You already have this information. This is stupid. I did it the first time. I didn't do it the second time. Well, you have to do it, or because it's part of your responsibility. And if you don't do it, you're going to get kicked out of the program. Okay, but it's stupid. You already have all the information. It is stupid. And no one could explain it to me in a way that made sense. So I didn't turn it in the second time. So I got kicked out of the math program, and I got put back into regular math. And I had the same teacher as the gifted math. And I didn't have to listen to her until literally the last week of school because we'd already covered everything. So she would give me the homework, I would do it, and take a nap in her class. So I'm in 8th grade. What I learned was authority is stupid. Following the rules is stupid. Adults are stupid because nobody understood, and I wouldn't let them know, but nobody understood how to explain it. Like, I need the concept. Why am I doing this? Well, Jeremy, you need to understand, in life, in government, military, other areas and contexts, there's going to be just, you got to check the stupid box, because that's just how the world works at times. So yeah, I agree with you. It's dumb, but we need to help you guys build a certain level of discipline and accountability. And so one way we're doing that is your responsibility. See, that would have got my attention. I'd have been like, okay, I thank you for treating me like I'm intelligent, instead of just shut up and do it. There's a logic behind it. Cool. Tell me more.
Right.
But
Instead of
schools,
because I said so, right?
right, right. And that's ultimately what it came down to, is just the adult saying, because we say so, and you'll get kicked out if you don't. So all you have is pain to force compliance, not visionary leadership, not aligning vision and values, not
Mm,
understanding me. I have to conform to your vehicle. And if I don't, then I get excluded. You're going to lose I'm intelligent and capable, and I love to serve, and I love to add value, even though I'm worthless, which is a whole, that was fun. It was a fun time. I don't recommend it, by the way. And
right.
my whole life is about how not to. That's why I wrote my book. That's why I do the parenting stuff. That's why I do the relationship stuff. You guys don't need to go do the same dumb stuff I did. Do different dumb stuff, and then write your stuff, and I'll read it, and we save each other time.
I love that. We are going to jump into a quick commercial, listen to one of our sponsors here, and then we're going to come back. We're going to talk about Jeremy's book and what he has going on and how you can get a hold of him. He's absolutely amazing, and he's been dropping gold here. And if you have not been picking it up, you have to go back, rewatch a couple times, because this is massive. It's huge. It's life changing. And I'm just learning new things today. And that's why I love doing this podcast. So we'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Jose Escobar, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Connected Leaders Academy. We're a growing tribe, a community of entrepreneurs all over the world, globally, all across the country, high performers, titans of industry. If you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to grow personally and professionally, scale your influence, develop your skill sets, move the needle in your business, more clients, more money, more profit, the bottom line, and of course, grow your circle and your network like never before, this is where you want to be. Join the Connected Leaders Academy today. We are scaling massively. We want to welcome you in. Check me out on Instagram and on Facebook, the @ JAESCO25. We look forward to having you join us. Take care.
Hello. We are back with Jeremy Roadruck. He also knows that guy, right? Jose
Yeah, Jose's
Escobar,
awesome.
Connected Leaders Academy. But we have been just talking about just mindset, right? Just what we go through and what stories we put in our heads, and the choice that we have to actually change those, switch those up. More positive self-talk, little words that you can kind of switch in your vocabulary that would make all of the difference. Thank you so much for the first half. In the second half, tell us about your book. What was the reasoning behind it, and what is your mission with it?
Awesome. So here's the deal right here. Your best child ever is this game worth winning. Because, and I'll give you the full title: How to Raise a Stable, Centered, Respectful, Self-Disciplined, Confident, Self-Motivated, Self-Directed, Successful, Wise, Wealthy, Safe, Healthy, and Happy Child for the complete or not so complete beginner. The owner's manual of children for parents, grandparents, caregivers, guardians, teachers, and coaches of all ages. So that's the full title, right? And this is book one. There's a second one, which is Your Best Child Ever, is this story worth telling? I haven't written it yet, but it's already in my head. And it's the only parenting book right there. It says on the cover, with a money back guarantee. And the reason I did that is I wrote this. I was single. I wasn't dating. I wasn't married. I didn't have kids. So who am I to write a book on parenting? But what I did have was 17 years of running a kung fu school, 5 to 7 days a week, because I was a fiend, and balance. What's that? Like all or nothing. But I worked with families, and I had done at that point 25 years of my own growth. But so sorry, just slight distraction. So I saw in families a lot of love and a lot of mismatching skills and objectives. I saw misalignment in vision and values, right? And I'll give you an easy example. I had a family in the program. Mom, dad, daughter is 8 years old. Son is 5 years old. Mom, dad, daughter are auditory communicators, auditory learners. They need to hear it. It's got to be said the right way, the right tonality. The words have to make sense to them or they won't move forward. The boy is visual kinesthetic. He needs to see it. He needs to do it. He has a really hard time standing still because he wants to just go do the thing already. And so whenever they had a family dynamic problem, mom, dad, daughter want to sit down and talk it out. And he's in the chair melting because he can't not, like, I don't get it. Like, the words don't make sense. He can't create the mental picture from the words they're using because they're ahead of him. And so then he feels like nobody cares about him. And so at 5 years old, I'm already seeing the seeds and the cracks of patterns of behavior that if they don't get addressed at 15, he's going to be that disaffected. I don't care about anything. Nobody cares about me. Chip on the shoulder, defensive because I don't belong in my family. I don't fit. Nobody loves me.
Mm.
And none of that is true. It's just a mismatching in communication styles. And so we had a conversation and we were at a restaurant, and for 45 minutes, I kept him involved in the conversation because I was drawing pictures. It was an Italian restaurant. You get the crayons and the paper tablecloth. And so I'm like drawing stuff for him as we're talking. I'm using the salt shaker, the pepper shaker. I'm engaging and telling a story as I'm talking with mom, dad, daughter, but he can see because I'm pantomiming it, because I can adapt my communication. So I wrote this book because I had all these little games. Like, why do little kids run away from you? Because there's more energy in running away in the store than there is standing next to you. If you've ever been in a store and you're a toddler person, get on your knees and walk around. All you see is butts everywhere. Like, the displays aren't made for toddlers. And so this is really boring. And if I go stand next to mom and dad and I'm quiet and they're focused on their shopping, I don't exist. This is boring. If I run away, if I play the chase me game, I get energy. Whether mom and dad are happy or sad is secondary. I need energy first. We need a quantity of energy, and then we'll deal with quality, positive or negative. But if my energetic needs aren't being met, then I'm going to force it, manipulation, or motivate it, motivation, positive. So you want your kid to sit next to you in the store, acknowledge them. Oh, wow, look at you standing right there next to me being such a good listener. I love that. High five. Can you give me like 2 seconds? And then you like do a thing. And you come, are you still paying attention and being helpful? I love that. You're incredible. I love you, kid. You're amazing. And if you keep validating them for doing the things that you want them to do, they're going to do them more often. If I get more
Mm.
energy by hanging out close to you, I'm going to hang out close to you. If I get more energy from running away, I'm going to run away. Like, it's simple because kids are like really egocentric and really deterministic at a younger age. Cool, align with that. But then I hear adults, well, I shouldn't have to. I'm like, okay, that sounds like a rule. You shouldn't have to. Where's that written? And
Mm.
so if your rules were working, your kid would comply and everybody would be happy, but your kid's struggling and you're struggling with your kid suggests, I'm not saying you're doing anything wrong, but it suggests to me there may be an easier way to play this game. And the other part of it is my dad read a book when I was a kid called Games People Play. And this book identifies all the dysfunctional manipulative games people play and how to break them. What it didn't do, here's a better game to play. And
Mm.
so when I was a kid and I'd be in my head about something, I'm an extrovert, but I learned to be an introvert because of the things I went through when I was younger. So I would do something dumb, and then my dad would say, well, you should have done this. And then I would say, yeah, but extenuating circumstance. And he would say, oh, well, then you should have done this. Okay, but really extra extenuating circumstance that I didn't really want to tell you about. Well, then you should have done that. Yeah, but then there was this other third thing. Okay, you're playing the yes, but game. Come back and talk to me when you want to be serious. Now,
Mm.
he was accurate. I was playing a game of evasion, a bunch of stuff. There's reasons for that. But for him to label the behavior and put it into a box and then basically make me wrong, like, fine, I'm not going to tell you what's going on with me. You can talk to yourself. Have fun with that. And so from 13 to 26, I basically didn't talk to him except to tell him what I wanted, to get what I wanted from him, to manipulate him, because I didn't have any reason to have a relationship with him, because I felt like everything I said, he was judging. Doesn't matter what you say, it's what we receive.
Mm.
And so that was games people play. He had read the book in the 70s. He wanted to be a good dad. That was the level of technology. And so I wrote Your Best Child Ever as a counterpoint or an answer. It's not about games people play. We all play games. There's no escaping it. All children play games. My grandmother was 101 and a half when she passed, still playing games. It's endemic to our species. We play games, we tell stories. Cool. Align with it. Become a game master and a story master. And so I wrote, is this game worth winning? Here's the block. I have a box. All human behavior fits into a box of 4 parts. And we can talk about the objective science side of it. We can talk about the fulfillment side of, or the playful subjective fulfillment side. So it's like a science and an art. It's both. And it came out of the martial arts. It came out of a 1500-year tradition, but it also came out of my personal experience growing up. And it came out of Buddhist and Taoist knowledge base, but I'm also raised Catholic. So there's some knowledge in there too. Like, there's a bunch of different pieces. So my dad And I now see a lot of stuff, same heart, same mind, different methodology, different language, but the same result. Showing up to love the people in your lives and to serve them and to light them up and help remove barriers in their life, just different vehicles to do it. Mine's much more punch you in the face because I'm a martial artist.
I love that. And how can people get a hold of the book? And how can people get a hold of you? And what do you have coming up?
So best way to get a hold of me is just Google me. I'm the only Jeremy Roadruck on the internet. I'm most active on Facebook. I have some content out on TikTok, and I do reels, and I've got a YouTube channel at Jeremy Roadruck. Just go to youtube.com. So like those are the two places to get a hold of me. To like grab some time, leadlikeaking.com/book-now gets you 15 minutes, and we'll do it's a free strategy call. Like where you at, what's going on, and whether we work together or not, I'll point you in a direction because I've got a lot of experience in a lot of stuff. I've been doing this now almost 30 years. And again, 3 to 94, a lot of life circumstances. So the best place to get the book, Nikki, I'll send you the link because you can get the paperback directly from me. You can get it on Amazon. It's $150, or you buy it from me. It's a little bit cheaper. There's also an Audible version. So if you want 5.5 hours of me in your head, and it sounds just like this because I wrote it exactly the way I talk.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's that. And then really the coolest thing I've got right now, I put together a bundle. It's called the Ultimate Husband and Child Hack Pack. And it's taking the communication course that goes with the book, finally getting your kids to listen. And I walk you through how to figure out your kid the way they actually learn so you can communicate in their channels. Coupled with that, I put an intimacy guide. So how can you get more love and passion in your marriage or in your relationship? How can you really meet your partner at their needs? Because most couples are trying to align desire, and living life with moving targets, trying to align desire is a nightmare, right? Because just schedules, time, workout, the minutia of daily life. So change that conversation. And I have it's a 75-minute watch it together and do the exercises, and you will transform your love life and really get what you need from each other with no manipulation, no fault, blame, guilt, shame, no withholding. Because it's like, I want to. If I light my wife up, she has more available to light me up, and if she lights me up, I have more available to light her up. It's a win-win game, right? And then you get a copy of my book, digital version immediately, paperback version. I'll sign it and mail it to you. And then I have 3 guides that talk about how to hack your husband. Because let's be honest, guys play for points. We can be gamed really easily. We just want to win. Kids play for points. They can be gamed. They just want to win. So getting your kids to play your reindeer games is not super complicated. Husbands are the same. We're just bigger toys and more defensive at times. But how do you hack your husband? There is a section in there. There's a report on basically love and passion in your relationship, and there's 6 different positions in a relationship. How do you get more love and passion, or how do you define where you want to be and your partner, you guys can get on the same page? Because not every relationship is going to be screaming the rafters, banging it out 6 days a week. Not everybody wants that. Not everybody needs that. So you got to find someone that aligns with you, so that it's like, oh, we're in simpatico and it's amplifying each other. Sweet. No fault, no blame. And then the last one is what I call the 5 to thrive. And it's really how to get clear on what do you need to be your best, and what does your partner need to be their best? Because if I know what lights my wife up and I just like make sure she has that, who loses?
No
And
one.
that's the whole point of creating games worth winning. The more I game my partner, the more alive and loved and passionate she feels. There's no loss there. And then she has that available, because if I demand she gives me something that she doesn't have, that's not going to happen. Or it's going to come at such a cost. There's going to be a back pressure. There's going to be a deficit to be paid later. There's going to be a debt. So if I make sure she has it, then she can give it to me. And if she makes sure I have it, then I can give it to her. That's a win-win. But if I demand, that only works with babies and parents, because the parents are on oxytocin, right? Once that drops, it's like there's actually a point where yesterday your baby threw up on you, you loved your baby. Today, baby threw up on you and you withheld love. You yelled, you reacted, you rejected. And that opens up a whole world of things for the parent as well as the child. It's necessary, because if we only ever got coddled and everything was always unconditional forever, we'd be monsters. So we need some pain, but the suffering is a second piece. Suffering is self-generated. Like this, the meaning we create and the punishment we create, that's the seed of our fault and blame and guilt and shame is that actual moment. But it happens in a microsecond and we don't notice. And so we can unravel that. That's part of the work I do with my one-on-one clients is we anger, sadness, fear, hurt, guilt, fault, blame, guilt, shame. We unpack and blow that out of a person's life so it doesn't exist. I don't need to guilt my wife. I need to have ownership. I need to have responsibility, and I need to have appreciation. Because if she's mad about something and she's like, I don't want to be this kind of wife with you, it's like, but this is what you're feeling. Thank you for your honesty, because then I can show up differently. And if you hide it from me, then I don't know there's a problem. I can't do anything. So thank you for giving me the awareness. I know that wasn't easy for you.
Oh my goodness, that's just amazing. So I think I do have the link, so I'll be putting it in the show notes, how you can get a hold of Jeremy and get a hold of this this package, because you know what, gift yourself something for Christmas. If you know that there's challenges and you're going through something and an opportunity arises that can fix some of those things, why not? Why are we gifting ourselves things that are not giving us anything back? They're good, you know, they make you feel good, but it's only going to make you feel good for a moment, feel good for a lifetime. And that's what I feel like Jeremy has packaged up with this
The hack
with his
pack.
book,
Mhm.
his hack pack, and all this good jazz. I'm going to check it out. Thank you, Jeremy, so much for your time, for your wisdom, for just the love that you have for what you do in changing and not changing, but helping people decide to make the changes in their lives that they're looking for. So thank you so much for that. Can't wait to have you back on. Can't wait to hear you on Saturday. People are going to just be in awe. And I am just so happy to be in community with you. And I look forward to see what the future holds for us. Thank you so much, the audience, for listening to another episode of Building a Leadership Mindset. And when I say you have to go back, rewind, rehear, take notes, because Jeremy is just he has a wide playbook in what he does and what he has been able to shift in the world. And I feel like he's going to do amazing things and just continue to do it, right? Thank you so much. Have a great day. And as I always say, make it count.
Always.